Welcome to Nach Simanim. I'm Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning Shmuel aleph perek chaf vav. This perek starts as, sadly, much of Shmuel has been going before, where Shaul tries to attack David again, as if all the other times weren't enough. He gets 3,000 soldiers into the wilderness and is determined to kill David for good. Now, David is going to be killed again. At night, there is an induced sleep by God among all of the scouts, of all of the protectors of Shaul, who is also sleeping. And Avishai goes with David and sneaks directly past the sleeping guards because they're all asleep. Now, they're about to go to the king, and they have the ability to just kill him right then and there. And Avishai tells David, kill him. Kill him. But David says, no, I can't. Instead, he takes the king's personal spear and a water jug that was resting beside Shaul's head to prove David doesn't want to kill Hashem's anointed king. He takes the jug and the spear back, and he calls out, Avner, who's the guy who's supposed to be protecting the king. Why are you sleeping on your job? Sleeping on the job. And Shaul, he wakes up, he sees this, and he admits, I am an idiot. I have been attacking you for so long. And again, he says it. And he again realizes he was foolish. And they part ways for the last time. It shows that David was loyal through and through. No matter how many times Shaul tried to kill him, David was still there. As a recap, we have the betrayal where Zivites reveal David's location, which I probably should have talked about, and Shaul hunts David with 300 men. We have the infiltration of David and Avishai into Shaul's camp, where everyone is under a divinely induced sleep. We have the choice that David chooses to not kill Shaul again, and we have the resolution between the two, where David shows the items that he could have killed the king with, and Avner wasn't protecting the king, and Shaul repents. We are in perek chaf vav, so just like Zichru, we use a military coup. Chaf vav, coup, military coup. Okay. David sneaks past the military coup to steal the king's spear and jar, proving that he spared his life. This reminds us that David sneaked past the military coup. That reminds us when perek chaf vav, and reminds us how David and Avishai David was being attacked again and tried to being hunted down by Shaul HaMelech. And at night, everyone was asleep. And David and Avishai got through the guards, got through the military coup, who was protecting Shaul, stole his jar and his spear to show him that I could have killed you, but I didn't, and spares the life of God's anointed king. So one more time with the simon. David sneaks past the military coup to steal the king's spear and jar, proving that he spared his life. We're going to do a 4 perek back chazara, starting with perek chaf beis, in which we use a cab. David's followers get into a cab to depart Nov. This reminds us how Doega Adomi from perek chaf aleph told the king how the Kohanim in Nov were doing a conspiracy with David. He gets Nov destroyed. Then David gathers a whole gaggle of people from all different walks of life, leading to perek chaf gimel, in which we use a kugelach, a game that kids play with cubes. David plays Kugalach to save the city of Keilah. This reminds us how the Plishtim were going to destroy the city of Keilah. David saves them, asks the Urim V'Tumim, because he has Evyasar, who joined him, who's the last survivor of Nov, with the Urim V'Tumim. And then Shaul tries to attack him again. Chaf Daled, we use a jug of water. David is about to kill Shaul, but instead spills a jug of water on him. This reminds us how David was in a cave in Ein Gedi. Shaul who's really tired, decides to take a nap in the cave. Now, David's men tells him, hey, the guy who's trying to kill us is right there. Kill him. And David is going up with a sword. Instead of killing him, cuts off a piece of garment and still feels regret over that and spares Shaul's life. Perek Chaf aleph, we use a 25th anniversary dinner. So Abigail stops David from popping the angry David from popping their balloons at their 25th anniversary dinner. This reminds us how David needed food. He asked Naval. Naval said no, because he's Naval, disgusting. David comes with 400 men in anger. Abigail stops him, calms him down with food, and begs for mercy. And then David doesn't kill Naval. Abigail goes back, tells Naval, who becomes stone hard, sick, and dies. And then Abigail marries David. We are going to now do a 9-question pop quiz, 9+1 question pop quiz. In which perek does David steal Shaul's spear and jug? Perek Chavav. In which perek does Shaul tear Shmuel's cloak? Or Shmuel tears Shaul's cloak? Perek Tetvav. In which perek does David volunteer to fight Goliath? Perek Yud Zayin. In which perek does Abigail intercept David with a feast? Perek Chaf aleph. In which perek is Avishai stopped from killing Shaul? Perek Chaf vav. In which perek does Eli hear that the Aron was captured? Perek Daled. In which perek does Yonatan warn David with arrows? Perek Chaf. In which perek does Doeg betray the priests of Nov? Perek Chaf Beis. Shoftim bonus question. In which perek does Yael kill Sisera? Perek Daled. That is it for today. May we be zocha to finish all of Nach, one perek at a time, and remember it day after day. Have a wonderful day.